Come down. Ooh, you make my high come down. Always tripping when you come around. Never have to cut you off like right now. You see, I don't have to drive me. You can say that for your mama. Maybe you should smoke something. Try the marijuana. I was loving you good. The vibe was straight. Showed you a couple of things and they feeling strange. I treated you right. Everything was a gift from a time to your bag and the color on your lip. Yeah, you plenty of.
Welcome back to a brand new episode of Seahawks Man to Man. It is official. The regular season is underway. Wow, here we are. Mike is over in Indianapolis. Got the Sunday night football game on. The Rams are up. Pretty big right now against the Chicago Bears, but the biggest news is the Seahawks kicked their 2021 season off the right way with a 28-16 victory on the road against the Colts. We got Mike down there. Mike, man, what is going on?
Man, that was fun, man. I forgot how fun it was to watch football live. You know, that I hadn't done it. And so, well, I guess I did the preseason, but it felt more real, you know. Well, maybe it's because I was watching Russ, you know, and Bobby and stuff like that. Like, there's just something that's just not normal about like watching third stringers and stuff like that. So, yeah, that was fun, man. Win or lose, you know, I don't really care either way. But I thought they should have won that game, and they did. And I feel just like I did after the Falcons game last year, week 1, thinking this team is going to be really good. I mean, obviously some things went haywire, but they won 12 games last year. Yep. And I've came away from this, and this is the culture better than the 2021 culture better than the 2020 Falcons. So I think, yeah, it was a lot to be encouraged about. Like Pete was fired up. He was willing to talk to us after the post game. Like,
I know
he had no more questions. He's like, "You guys got any more questions?" He's like, he never does that. That's how you know it was a good day. Pete was like, "Yo, give me what you got. I got time." You know,
yes.
that's how hype he was. So I like that.
He was very excited. I think a lot of listeners tuning in are pretty ecstatic for the season, and we'll get to that, of course, with the Twitter questions. But I guess we can start with the offense, man. We got to see what the Shane Waldron offense really looks like. It wasn't backups. It was the starters. It was the real deal. My first initial thought was, wow, this is a little different. I thought the tempo, I wrote down, I think, maybe 7 times where I noticed up tempo, meaning they'd run a play, and then instead of huddling up, Russ would get them all back lined up, and then he would directly talk to the players, hey, we're doing this, pass it along, yelling, hey, we're doing this and that. That was cool to see, and it ultimately, I just think it kept the Colts defense on their toes for the most part, and it didn't allow them to get comfortable. And that was great to see because usually they might have to burn a timeout because they can't hear, the communication is not going well. But for the most part, they were synced, they were all connected, good to go. They're on one string, and they played that way. The run game was pretty efficient. The passing plays that I did see, there was some quick stuff, and then there was a lot of deep stuff. We saw Tyler Lockett take the top of the defense, although I'm sure people probably had questions about DK Metcalf in the first half. If I'm not mistaken, he didn't even get a catch or a target. But I think
a target, no.
I think that was mainly the fact that he was creating opportunities for someone else. There was a play where Will Dissly ran a nice little out route, maybe 13 yards, but DK, he created that of course, I'm on the TV, watching the TV broadcast, so I didn't get to see the whole 22. So when I watched that later tomorrow on Tuesday, or Monday, excuse me, I'll be able to see, DK was able to create this, and I think that really opened up the day for Tyler Lockett, who had 2 touchdowns, another 100-yard game, and then, of course, DK in the second half was able to find his groove, and they were able to work him into the offense. But I think it's going to be pick your poison. Either DK is going to have a great game or Tyler Lockett, or they're both going to go crazy. And I think today, on Sunday, you're able to see, okay, start off with Tyler Lockett, but then the Colts are thinking, okay, we got to slow down Tyler Lockett, and then they realize, oh, damn, they got a 6'4" guy that runs a 4.3. How are we going to slow him down? And I just really like the flow of things. Everything seemed genuine, solid. The offensive line played pretty damn well. Dwayne Brown didn't like he missed a beat, so him sitting out didn't matter. The guy knows how to play football. He's going to protect Russ. I thought Gabe Jackson was solid. Ethan Posick and Kyle Fuller. I don't know the whole situation there. Maybe you'll have more insight, Mike, on why they were substituting both of them, but I thought they played okay. Brandon Shell, I didn't hear his name at all. So guess what? He had a good day.
Usually means you're doing okay for the most
Damian
part.
Lewis as well. I just went to the whole offensive line, but overall, with what I saw with the offense, it was fun. Like I was smiling. I saw Gerald Everett 2 screenplays. One got negated for a penalty, but he was making plays, and the ball was. I think you talked about this last year, Mike. You talked about how the ball was just being spread around. I forget what game it was, but everyone was just touching it. It was that same energy for the first game of the season, and it was cool seeing it. D. Eskridge came and got a few plays, took a big hit. Hopefully he is okay. We'll probably find out more information tomorrow or Tuesday, but that was kind of my big takeaway is the offense, man. They are shining. It looked good, exciting. And I'm looking forward to see how they go throughout the rest of the regular season.
Yeah, there's a lot that I learned. I thought one thing that was kind of interesting. So I might spill the beans on if this is true. I'm not sure. So I've been trying to figure out when they use tempo. And I think
okay, I see what you're doing there. Okay.
Yeah, so I think what they're trying to do is because I was really like analyzing. I have a bunch of notes. It's just mostly on the offense. Like I wrote just about the offense Sunday after the game. I didn't really write about the defense that much. I will by the time this comes out. I'll have another morning after piece. But I thought so. I was trying to ID how they're using the tempo because that's the thing we kept hearing. They're going fast. I think what's really interesting about how they've chosen to go fast and not just be like Chip Kelly's offense is they run a lot of 12 personnel. I think they ended up running 11 more than 12.
Before you continue, Mike, can you tell the people what 12 and 11 personnel is? Because some listeners or viewers might be like, "What is that?"
Am I too in the weeds here?
Two in the weeds.
Okay, so 11 personnel is 1 running back and 1 tight end. That's a 1 and a 1. 11. 12 personnel is 1 running back and 2 tight ends. 1 and a 2. 12 personnel, and you have 13 personnel and 10 personnel. You have that's like air raid style. You just have a running back, no tight ends, and then just 4 wide. That's like I said, that's what, like air raid spread type of stuff. So the 12 personnel is probably going to be their calling card this year because that puts their 4 best pass catchers on the field. I think that's DK, Tyler, Gerald, and Will Dissly. And I haven't rewatched the game yet, but I imagine I could probably guess that when the times that you have written down that they went no huddle was probably because they got a big play in their 12 personnel. Okay. And because of that, the defense was in their like base, right? Which usually has fat dudes on the field. But Gerald is so versatile that you can basically run 11 personnel with him. You can put him on the trip side of the formation or whatever. You can just get creative with him because he's so athletic. He's damn near a receiver too, if you need him to be. I think that on his touchdown, I think he was on to the trip side of the field maybe. So like that, I thought that was interesting. Like it's not just about going fast all the time. You can't do that. It's like when do you go fast? And that was one of the indicators that that's my theory on how they're deciding when and when. Because I asked Shane, how do you know when to go fast? And now he's like, I can't tell you. What? Oh, they tell you. Run TV, dude. Like that's kind of how he looked at me, which I understand. But it's my job to then go try to figure it out. So that was one of the indicators that I think that is a good play. And there's nothing really you can do about that as a defense. You can try to pull your big boys out and anticipate that they're kind of doing like an 11 personnel type of package and maybe have your nickel group in. Problem is Gerald and Will can both block. So if they're in 12, they could very well just be running it on you. And if they're going to run it on you, you want your big boys in, right? So it's this catch-22 that I think that's the intention there. So that was one of those things that even though it's one game, that like schematic, philosophical, whatever thing, if I'm right, I don't know if I'm right on that. I'll ask Shane on Thursday, but I like to be right. So I'm assuming that I am. I think that's when I saw that and thought about it after the game, I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Cause Gerald is really dynamic. He only had two touches today, but the screen, like you mentioned, that got negated just kind of shows that you can just put the ball in his hands.
He'll make something.
I mean, shoot, Will too. Will, I think the dude, Will Stiff Arm is still on the ground somewhere in Lucas Oil. He put that dude in the dirt. Who was that? I didn't go back and look. Did they say on the broadcast?
It didn't. Yeah,
they put that brother in the dirt. That was bad. So I think that was one thing that really stood out about like what's the difference between Shane and Shoddy? Because if you just look like, oh, they scored a lot of points, had some deep stuff, used some tempo, had some other stuff mixed in, like that was the case week 1 last year too. I walked away from Atlanta Stadium thinking that the Seahawks were going to be really good offensively, and they were. They were actually really good. They scored 28 points a game. That was actually really good last year. So I was looking for specifics, and that was a specific that I really hope I'm right about. I just opened the show with it, and I'm gonna feel really stupid if Shane
don't feel stupid.
It doesn't corroborate my story.
It's not like Shane told you, so you really, based off what you saw, you try to put the pieces together. You might be wrong, but at least you attempted it. I mean, how wrong could you possibly be?
I'm probably missing another detail, but that's my theory, and it makes sense in my head, and it probably makes sense to everybody listening who knows what all the personnel groupings. So let's go with
yeah, you did shed some light there, but I will say this: looking back at the drive, the Seahawks' second drive, they throw their first, I think maybe the second or first play was that screen to Gerald Everett, which would indicate they were probably in 12 personnel. You had Will Dissly out there, Gerald Everett, and DK and Tyler. So the next play, they're up tempo. That's where, if I'm not mistaken, DK takes them deep. I don't know what route he ran, but clearly it cleared out everything because Will Dissly was wide open on the first down for that out route. They up tempo it. Chris Carson gets the run. So I think with that, you're onto something because it sounds like with me reading my notes and everything, they were in 12 personnel on those specific plays. So I hope you're right, Mike. They need sweatsuits, man.
I hope I am. Well, I need more than that. I mean, honestly, another team might give me some sweatsuits if that's the type of like insight I can give them. I can tell you how much they used personnel. Actually, shout out to the homie Mike Sando who created a fast way for me to figure this out.
Oh, here we go.
All I gotta do is put up a link. They were in 11 personnel, 27 snaps according to True Media. And then 23 snaps there in 12. So a little bit more 11 than 12, just by a smidge though. But I think that's one of the things that I noticed. The other thing I thought was interesting, and I wrote about this too. I was in my story that came out Sunday or tonight, whatever.
Monday.
Yeah, whatever. Well, no, it came out already. It's out now.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, Sunday night. Yeah, I just wrote a piece that came out today. But dressing things up to make them all look the same, but with different outcomes. I thought that was like very noticeable. It was one of those where I was thinking it and I was writing it down in my notes during the game. And then Steven, who we had on the show, he was sitting behind me actually. He said he's not talking to me. He just blurted out. He was like, "Man, they're running variations to the same play." And I was like, "Yes, they are." He validated what I was already thinking, and so because he saw it too, and he's so veteran, the fact that he saw it and I saw it, I was like, "Oh yeah, okay." Like that made me feel good about that. So like I'll take for example like D's fly sweep stuff. Like that play had the variation where it's D, and then they ran the same thing where it's Metcalf taking the handoff. He didn't hand it to him, but they ran it. Then there's obviously you fake to D and then hand it to Chris, or you fake to D, fake to Chris, and then throw it to somebody else. He had one where he faked to Metcalf, faked a pitch to Chris, and then threw to Metcalf in the flat. Like it was just all the same type of play, same formation, same guys, but you just never knew where the ball was going. And I thought that was very, very good. And it reminded me of like a McVay type of style of offense. Like that felt very McVay-ish, I thought, and that was good. And then just to hear guys after the game, like Gerald Everett told us after the game, he was like, "Yeah, that's the plan. If the plan is to go in, make everything look the same, so you have no idea where the ball's going." And then Tyler Lockett talked about that after the game too. You know, Tyler was like, you could definitely tell that what DK meant by defenses figured us out in the second half. Remember, it was on the podcast with Brandon Marshall. Remember that in the summer? Yep. So now we're getting a feel for what he really meant by that. He meant that when he lines up and spot whatever, the defense knew that was what he was running. Like they just knew it. Same thing with Tyler. That's what it means by they got predictable. Not necessarily about run or pass. It was more about like our film study is showing that when our tendencies we're tipping our hands, almost like a pitcher tipping his pitches, right? Like they got figured out in that regard. That's probably how I think the Rams admitted that's how they had the pick six in the playoff game. The film showed them a screen was coming, so dude just jumps it, runs it, boom. So the ability to change that up, I think, will be really encouraging if Shane can keep that up, because they're right. That is going to be hard to beat because eventually they have so many guys who can do a lot of the similar stuff. Like DK's already tried the fly sweep thing Freddie Swain, I think, had one as well.
He
Then
did.
the next thing, then Tyler's gonna be the guy coming in motion, and then in D, once he gets healthy, like I said, hope he's okay. He took a shot, and then who knows? Maybe like it's Rashad Penny doing it,
Gerald Everett.
at Gerald Everett or DJ Dallas, and then you got all these other things you can do, and then once the defenses adjust, then you can adjust to that. And so I do think there's I'm starting to see little, even if it's just one game, as you can tell, I was watching pretty thoroughly. You can kind of see why they were using the buzzwords that they were using in the offseason, like intricate or smart or whatever, like those, because that is smart. Like you're already setting up your opponent for the counter, So I thought that was encouraging. Like in my mind, I can already see the different ways that you can play off of what the defense's keys are now, because now when they see this in motion, they'll think, okay, this is happening. We've seen it on film, and then boom, you got some other variation. So I thought that was good. It's not just the fly sweep stuff. That's just the best example that I think we can like show that people will know. Like if we were able to do film study on here, that's the one I would look at.
Yeah.
So like Shane needs to keep people on their toes, and I asked him about that in training camp. I said, look, man, everybody's gonna be surprised week 1. Anybody seen your stuff?
Yeah.
How do you make sure that you can do that same thing in week 10? And he was like, yeah, you just got to grow. You gotta really be studying the game. You got to really go, like, not be afraid to go outside of the NFL for ideas. He talked about looking back into college or whatever. It made me think of when the Chiefs in the Super Bowl 2 years ago pulled out the play from like the 1948 Rose Bowl or something like that. The play where the guys like flip around before the snap. Yeah, like pulled that from a Rose Bowl in the 40s. Right, because Andy Reid or whoever went back and was willing to expand and grow, and that was a play who are they playing? The Niners. The Niners had never seen. So those two elements right there, just like independent of the production itself, like how many yards Russ can throw for yards in any offense. Him and Tyler are going to catch it. Him and Tyler have been catching moon balls, hooking up for moon balls in 3 different offenses now. Like that part is not a Shane thing. Like, throwing a seam ball to DK is not a Shane thing, right? Like DK caught a seam or caught a touchdown out of the slot last year in week 2 against Stephon Gilmore. But those two aspects, the keeping the defense on the toes, but how you dress up the play designs, and also, damn, I forgot what was that first thing I said. Oh, when they're using tempo based on their personnel groupings, I like that. Those two things, Shane gets a little gold star from me, based off week 1 in that regard.
I know you're the film guru and you love pulling clips off the dome, but I remember in Bad Boys 2 when the drug
movie reference. Here we go.
The drug lord, he was, I think, Will Smith and what was their character's name? I'm drawing a blank now.
What? Come on, man. Mike Lowry, man.
Thank you. Mike Lowry
and Marcus Burnett.
There we go. They had gotten they've starting to realize what he was doing with his drug movements through Miami, through the port, and how he was.
Yeah, he was using the dead bodies. Yeah.
So basically, he was like, "You got to keep them guessing. Keep them guessing." I don't know if you remember that clip, but
of course I do. I can quote that whole movie. Yeah.
Well, then yes, that's what's playing in my head right now. Keep them guessing. Keep them guessing. We need to keep them guessing, and that's what Shane's gonna have to do. Yes, run it, keep it the same style, but switch it up. Gerald Everett coming in motion. Whoa, there's a tight end. I know he's fast, but is he really going to get the ball? Oh, we got to follow him. That's going to make this offense more of a threat when we get to week 16, when we get to week 17, getting ready for the postseason. And I think that's a very interesting point that you did make regarding this offense and where it's going to go as the season progresses. But the defense, they shined as well. They didn't play too bad. They stonewalled the Colts. You would think they were going to put up 7, but the screen pass to Jonathan Taylor, Kerry Hyder notices it, is able to get off a block, comes screaming in, makes a touchdown saving tackle, forces them to go and attempt 3. I'm sure, Mike, you would have gone for it if you were a head coach. Am I right?
You're talking about the opening drive?
Opening drive, yes.
Yeah, it was like from the 3-yard line. Yeah, I'd have went for that. I
take the points.
I think I don't like say, you're attempting either way. You're either going for it or you're going for a kick. Either your kicker's not guaranteed to make anything, just like you're not guaranteed to get the fourth down. I think that Russ needs to be treated like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, or Mahomes, or even prime Drew Brees in that regard of being like, you know how the teams would be like, we can't kick field goals against Patrick Mahomes, or we need touchdowns to beat Aaron Rodgers. You need touchdowns to beat Russ too, right?
Yeah.
Like that boy was smoking today. That boy was up. Hold on, I know you're talking about we got the defense thing up there, bro.
I can take it down. Hang on.
Russ was
time out. Do I have the names right on here before I continue?
No, it still says you're me.
Okay, let me switch that up.
Just cut them. It'll be fine. For our audio audience, but what the hell are these guys talking about? But Russ was, man, look here. It's maybe just because I ain't seen Russ in a little bit. That was, man, they need to fix whatever problems they have behind the scenes. Don't lose that guy. And that was kind of what I wrote about beforehand. I wrote about like the season really comes down to if Russ does not win a championship or feel like he's in a position where he can win one, he's gonna make this ugly and want to bounce, right? That's what he's going to do. And I feel like I don't need him to validate anything that I say necessarily, but like even Rappaport, when he talked, like Ian Rappaport has a little 2-minute spiel on NFL Network before the season kicked off. And he was like, yeah, all's good in like Green Bay and Seattle, like for now. He was like, it's a make or break season for the Seahawks, because of what happened in the offseason. It's like, yes, thank you. See, I'm not the only, it's not like me and Rappaport talked about it, but the fact that like we both got that feel is what that felt good about that. So, and this I don't even know how well that's going to go. It's just 1 week, but it's like, dude, how can anyone think that you need Russ? Russ is good as, bro, that ball he throws to Tyler, come on, man. The throw to DK is covered on that touchdown. He is covered, but he puts it where only DK can get. Like if DK tries to go body catch that, it's getting broken up. He made DK have to go put his hands there. It reminds me of that touchdown he threw Greg Olsen last year. It's not the exact same, but he throws a laser. Yes, he throws it at Greg's face, and he's like, Greg, you got two options here. You either get hit in the chin or you catch a touchdown. DK very similar. So like, good man, Russ was
on fire.
Good. Yeah, he was torching, man. That boy, he is the real pocket presence, using his legs. He had that scramble in the first drive on 3rd and 9, picking up 11 yards. That felt like a big play, and even her and Tyler Lockett said it after the game. He was like, yeah, we really needed that, because if he didn't get that, then we're 3 and out. They just had the ball for 10 minutes. The defense is going right back out there. The offense is still trying to figure itself out at that point. But he was like, nope, now we stayed on the field. I think they scored. Yeah, they scored on that drive. Yeah, so it's just like, oh,
that was the spark.
Yeah, exactly.
It was 3rd and 9, and it was like, oh, shoot, Russ is going to get sacked, and then he squirts out.
And the Colts brought the house.
The safety blitz, was it? He came off the edge.
I'd have to go. I just know they brought a lot of people. Yeah, and that's why he was able to scramble, because they vacated zones because they were blitzing guys. But yeah, I know we can get to the defense now. But man, Russ was special. It was a special day from Russ.
Special day indeed. I thought it was a special day for the defense. I'm sure people were like, well, the defense, they didn't finish out strong. That is true. That's one thing that Mike and I, we talked off wax about, closing the game and finishing the beatdown per se, finishing off a team when they're already down and out, keeping the foot on the pedal and just closing it out. And Jamal Adams, he mentioned that at the post-game conference with you guys and talked about it. That's something that they're going to work on and try to build upon. I'll say this. It wasn't as bad as it was against Atlanta, okay?
No, that was – well, they were up a lot longer there too. I do think – here's my theory before we get into like who specifically played well. I think that goes into why Seahawks teams do well like late game when it's close, because they're still in their normal defense.
Yep.
Whereas when they get into that kind of 2-shell prevent mode where they're just like, "Hi, we'll give you the underneath stuff. Just you ain't just going to hit no big ones on us," right? Like it's Pete Carroll's worst nightmare to have. Like I don't know if people saw how the Chiefs came back, but like they were down 9, boom, 75-yard touchdown. Those are what he's trying to prevent in the prevent defense, right? That's why he called that. I just don't think they should do that. It's like, if you've played your defense and only given up 10 points through 3.5 quarters, stay in the defense that only gave up 10 points. Why? What's the downside to switching? Well, you immediately give up 6, which they did when they switched defenses. So I think that's my theory on why I know that the prevent defense is why they end up giving up gimmies at the end of games. But I do think that contributes. On the flip side of it is why they'd be good at closing out games in the clutch late sometimes, because it's like we're just still in the defense that we know. We're still in the mindset that we know. We're like attacking still. And whereas when they sit back, it's like, well, here's 10 yards here, here's 7 yards here, here's 8 yards here, now a run play here. It's like, well, damn, dude, now they up the field. Like Pete got to chill with that. But overall, you're right. The run defense today was really good.
Yeah, they did a really good job against Jonathan Taylor.
What's the numbers on there? I got the numbers.
I can pull it up.
It's 17. Jonathan had 17 carries, 56 yards. Naeem Hines had 9 carries for 34 yards. Together, that's not great. Yeah, that's and then Carson had 4 for 23, but those aren't designed.
That's irrelevant. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Jonathan Taylor also had like the most targets and receptions for the Colts as well. Like they just used him. They just had to get him the ball. They just didn't have any other answers, unfortunately. Michael Pittman Jr., he made a few plays, but outside of that,
Naeem had the most targets, and they both had 6 catches.
Yeah, it was a tough day. The Seahawks defense was really clamping down and making it tough for Carson Wentz. It took him a while to get, consistent pressure, but for the most part, he wasn't comfortable, and he took some hits today. That boy going to be waking up pretty sore tomorrow for sure.
Oh my goodness. He had Brian Monet lay on him.
Yeah, I thought that was a penalty. Did they forget to throw the flag? I thought you couldn't do that. I thought you couldn't drive him to the ground and land him.
I don't know, man.
I just know. I have no problem with
Brian Monet is a heavy young man.
350?
And for him, I don't know if he's 350. Is he 350? 350.
He's a big boy.
50, he's the most athletic 350-pound man I think I've ever seen. What's his jersey number? 90. They got him at 6'3", 345. Yeah. Oh, good God. He eats Snickers. He's 350. That is crazy. That is nuts.
Hey, I saw your tweet about Al Woods too, running and diving.
I can't find the play yet. I'm about to go for I guess the all-22 is coming back now for the regular season because they took it away for the preseason.
I need to watch it because I want to see the Bucs game. But yes, I saw that. I'm like, Jesus, man, if some dude was chasing me down weighing because Al Woods probably a good 330. That's scary, bro.
I can look up Al Woods too.
I think Al Woods probably like 330.
Yeah, they got him at 6'4", 330. And I'm telling you, once I find the play, I'm going to tweet it. This dude went full Superman from the backside of the play and caught the dude. I was like, yo.
Like, that could be someone's ankle snapping, a whole leg falling off. Like, that is so dangerous, but that's football. When you get those angles, D linemen are coming. Like,
he's like chasing down a run. I think I was like,
it was like wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a check down to a running back.
Oh, yeah, it was a play action pass. And it might have been to Taylor or not. One of the two.
Yeah, one of the running and Al Woods just comes from behind. It's a combined tackle, but I was like, good Lord. He's kind of left his feet.
That should be illegal. You can't leave your feet. If you weigh over 300 pounds, you can't go sprinting and leave your feet.
Before we get into the Twitter questions, some of them will cover the defense, so I think we'll be fine.
Yes.
But I was thinking this the other day. Like, who's the best pound-for-pound athlete on the Seahawks roster?
Probably. Okay, go ahead.
I didn't have an answer, but it's tough. It's tougher than I thought it would be when I thought it. I was going to tweet it, but I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I will after the pod out now. But I was like down to like Puna, Dwayne. I think Puna, Dwayne, and DK were my best guesses. But like, man, maybe I'll put Al in there. If he's 330 and can leap off his feet, good
he could
Lord.
Probably dunk, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, man, that dude. Puna can dunk.
You remember Vince Wilfork, right? He was out there dunking.
Yeah,
he might have been the most.
I don't know how tall Vince is. I mean, Al's 6'3", 6'4", so like him dunking is not as it's impressive, but like Puna's like 5'10".
Yeah.
Let me see what's Puna listed at. I'm just checking. Good thing I
5'10",
got this.
300?
Puna's 5'11", 310, and he could dunk in high school, standing on 2 feet.
Disgusting.
Like just stand there and like Puna might be pound for pound, but even Dwayne Brown is a freak athlete too. I mean, the first play of the game was a toss.
Oh yeah, and you see him
just
fly outside,
clearing out the DB. God bless any DB that's right there. They think they're about to cover. They got this run play coming, and 76 is coming off the edge. Hey, somebody else gonna have to force this. Somebody got to make this tackle. It ain't gonna be me. Not today. Hey. For who and for what? Now that maybe we can get some listeners say who they think is the best pound for pound athlete, because there's some good ones on there. Like DK seems like the obvious answer when you think, man, Puna is really athletic, man. Jamal is too. But yeah, man.
What about Jordan Brooks?
Question
mark.
I wouldn't say the most. They're all athletic, to be clear.
No,
I think
absolutely.
like
But you're talking about
Dwayne
the
is
most.
just like what Dwayne can do at that size, and he can run, and he can bend, and he's strong. Yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, we can do a question now. That just popped into my head.
Well, Mike has called it, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for our favorite segment. Hopefully yours too, outside of us, of course, discussing what we witnessed on the Seahawks' first game again as they knock off the Colts 28-16. But yes, let's get the Twitter questions. We have quite a few, but we're going to get to them because that's what we do. To kick things off, we'll go to our guy who's been rocking with us for, he's been rocking with us for a minute now, Ryan Turner at Turns44.
What up, Ryan?
Starts off, it was a fun game. Hawks got busy today. It has taken a year for him to get on the field, but Darrell Taylor, he looked outstanding. Who else outside of the normal cast of characters look like they're going to play a bigger role this season? Keep killing it. Appreciate the love, Ryan.
I mean, yeah, Darrell would probably be. I mean, Darrell was good. I thought so I don't know how big of a role Darrell will have, but I do think he has a chance to just make splash plays like that because he didn't play that many snaps. Oh no, I think I had it in front of me. He only played 11 pass rush snaps and had 2 quarterback hits. Like that's pretty impressive. That's a high percentage. So conversely, right? Rasheem Green played 34 pass rush snaps and had the same amount of quarterback hits, right? And 3 times as many pass rush snaps. So like Darrell maximized the opportunities that he got. And that's just kind of what it's going to have to be when there's so many good defensive ends on this team. And I think like, to put into context, like who you beat for a sack does matter. Like I think it's the dude at ESPN, Seth Waldron. I think that like tracks true sack rates and stuff like that, and looks at who got cleanup sacks versus who beat a guy and stuff like that. Then who you beat matters as well. So the guy that Darrell just plowed through, I think that's I'm going to this a lot today. That's why I'm looking at the roster for those who are doing just audio. Braden Smith just got the bag because he's a good tackle, and boy. If Darrell Taylor put that man on his back, it happened so fast I was like, but did he trip? I didn't watch the replay.
What happened?
He was, and he just smothered. He hit Carson Wentz so hard. If Carson Wentz's mama was there, let me make sure is she alive? Actually, I don't want to get that wrong. But if Carson Wentz's family was there, boy, they probably wanted to beat the snot out of Darrell. After that was bad. So yeah, Darrell Taylor, man, I think he's gonna be. I don't know if he's gonna be like a stud year 1, but I do think he's got that in him. He's got that in him where just like I was just talking to somebody. We can go to the next question after this. It's a little long, but I was just talking to somebody on Saturday. I was like, what is so crazy about defensive ends and why they're probably the most freaky athletes on the field other than left tackles is they're so fast and so strong. Like Darrell's probably here I go to the handy dandy. I'm gonna just keep this thing here.
6'3", 255.
He's listed 6'4", 267. I don't think he's at 267. But let's say he's about 6'4", 250 or something like that. And he's fast. And he can bend. But what he can also do is just plow through somebody. Like that's what Frank Clark blew me away, but he was able to do because Frank was 6'5", 265 or whatever, and he could just put dudes on their back with one hand and then go sack the quarterback. Crazy. So like Darrell would be my vote there. I think Darrell, like I said, I don't know if he's gonna have like a Pro Bowl year or nothing like that, but I just think he'll have one of those years where at the end of the year we're like, oh wow, this Darrell guy is gonna be something because he can play.
There it is. Jimmy at Jimmy_Lee1 with how well the defensive line looked on Sunday. Is there any chance they can maybe trade LJ Collier for a draft pick?
Oh man, yeah, I felt bad for LJ, man. He was deactivated on his birthday.
Season you tweeted that out, and I was like, ugh.
I thought Brady Henderson was going to tweet that. He's who noted it. We were sitting there pregame. He was like, man, it's LJ's birthday. I said, are you kidding me? It's not funny, but like that's unfortunate. That was brutal. I don't know what they would get for LJ, but I do think that like LJ got benched essentially while everyone's healthy, which is an indictment of where he perhaps would rank in the coach's eyes in terms of the D-line talent. But that's when everyone's healthy. Yeah. Injuries happen. He's still, even if the coaches think, oh man, this guy can't start or can't play for us when everyone's healthy, everyone ain't gonna be healthy all year. You need depth. And if ultimately your first round pick ended up being a depth guy, so be it, man. He's on the team, you're paying him. You need depth, right? So I do think he can provide some help there. I just don't know if like getting like a 5th round pick or whatever, or even like a conditional 4th is worth losing out on depth. And with a 17 game season, it's going to be a war of attrition. Guys are going to get hurt. They're going to get banged up, especially up front where D linemen, they're smacking other guys every play, right? It's a car crash every snap. So I think that it's not worth it. It's just not. And I still think he can play. I don't know why. I still don't think he should have been inactive. I disagree with the decision there.
This one's from our homegirl Holly at Hallberry03.
What up?
What was y'all's favorite play or plays from today's game?
I mean, besides Al Woods going full Superman like that, dog. I wish I could find the clip of that, man. I gotta find it.
Wow.
I think it's the moon. It's not the moon ball. It's the cover 0 touchdown to Tyler, man. Like that's the degree of difficulty. Ball? I think when people referencing the moon ball, they might be referencing the 69-yarder. I'm not sure.
I think they're both. I would consider them both moon shots.
I consider the first touchdown more of it because it has that arc, like it legitimately looked like it would like go up to the moon and come back down, whereas the other one was just a deep ball. They're both great, but for Russ do that off his back foot, man, and just that is a hard. So when Russ throws it, the safety is like right in line with Tyler.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's a corner. I can't remember, but he's right there with him. They're directly eye to eye essentially. And like he has to anticipate that Tyler will float to the right. I mean, maybe that's just part of the play call, but it just
open, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, that's such a hard. And then for Tyler to make that play, man, you're running forward, looking backwards, like it's just that was impressive, man. And I think the other one is probably Daryl's sack because he beat someone good for his sack. Not to totally discredit the guy that Benson Mayowa and Rasheem Green beat for their sacks. Something Davenport. He's like their backup left tackle though. Yeah, it's like Julian Davenport or whatever. According to our guy Steven, Davenport ain't that good. So he told me farther up the press box, he was like, yeah, man, don't think that your defensive end is just gonna like do that every time because they did it to that dude. That dude apparently he was getting his butt whooped all camp, Colts camp. Like it was bad, and I was like, dang. And that's the best they got. But they got Eric Fisher, former Colts guy. He's hurt, but I think he'll be back. So that's why I think Gerald's play was so impressive, man. It was like man on man. I'm gonna beat the guy in front of me and make a play. That was really good.
I'll go with mine. It was the 69-yard bob from Russ to Lockett. And I like the route on it. DK. Tyler sold the corner with his head movement, and boy, did that safety fall for it. And it was too late. As soon as his hips turned inside, there's not much you can do. And Russ laid a perfect ball. All Lockett had to do was run underneath it, touchdown. So that was really, really good to see. Tyler Lockett, very underappreciated in this league. Somehow,
he can ball.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, I got one thing I want to say on Tyler, real quick. If we got time. Now, Tyler said after the game that he's really glad that he didn't fall after he caught the ball.
Yes.
And like because they almost got him.
Yeah.
But that's something. And so I was talking, and maybe I'll write about this later. But I do remember talking to the receivers coach, Nate Carroll, in training camp, and we're talking about like what's the next step for each guy, and me and him kind of agreed like Tyler likes to catch the ball and go down a lot, like which is smart, protect your body. He just got a $17 million contract per year in this offseason. It's because he's available to the team, so I get it, but he is best used, I think, if he can catch it and then go. Like that's got to be what your role is in this offense if it's really gonna be dynamic. And the fact that Tyler, and he said that's something he's trying to work on is not falling and stuff like that. So the fact that that's on his mind, it's another thing. Like he validated what I've been thinking. So I thought that was smart. That is the next step. Just like the next step for DK is to make hands catches like he did
today
on that touchdown.
Sunday, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's the next step for DK, and the next step for Tyler is use the yak ability you have. He was all pro special teamer as a return man as a rookie. Like
I think in certain situations though he should slide. Like when he's going over the middle and there's linebackers and safeties, I feel it.
Well, yeah, he's not putting his shoulder down, but just like there needs to be more concerted effort to like maybe work on his balance or whatever, so he can run through some people. Because once he does that, if Tyler can make somebody miss, he's gonna have a lot more big touchdowns like that.
Got it. This one's from our quarterback, Bernie at C Sports Bros, aka Josh. For those.
Oh, what up, Josh?
Who's this guy? Are the Cardinals scary or do the Titans suck?
Might be a little bit of both. I don't think the Titans suck though. I gotta watch that game. It was on the same time as the Seahawks game, so I didn't get to. I'm gonna rewatch it probably Monday night. I'll watch it. I would guess. I mean, the Cardinals last year, didn't they beat the Niners in Week 1? So the Cardinals can do things like this. The problem is their consistency and their ability to adjust to people adjusting to them. So I still don't trust Kingsbury, but I gotta go watch. Maybe they're different this year. The Titans defense though is trash. Like that was predictable. Was unpredictable part was what they did to Derrick Henry and the fact that like AJ Brown also didn't have like a catch in the first half or whatever. Maybe it was Julio. Their offense not being good was surprising to me. Even though they lost their OC, I still think I thought they were going to be better, and they were not. And as a Jonnu Smith fantasy owner and a Ryan Tannehill fantasy owner, I'm very aware that they were not good. No, they were not.
This one's from Kyle Rancourt at Kyle Rancourt. Thoughts on the jersey number rule change? I personally love it. Seeing all those single digits was cool. My favorite new number was Mayoa as number 10. Looked incredible.
Okay, Mayoa's the only one that's been throwing me off. Like, I think the jersey rule number thing is great.
Who the hell? Oh, that's Benson. Okay.
See, I'm thinking Josh Gordon. So I see him. I'm like, hold on. Hell nah.
Since when did Josh play DN?
Yeah, because I mean Benson's a lot bigger than Josh, but I mean from afar,
you can't. It's not like a big
difference.
Yeah,
and they the same type of skin tone too. Dark skin brothers.
Josh back on the team.
Bro, it threw me off. Let's see. What's Benson 6'3", 250. Right,
yeah, Josh Gordon's probably 220, 225.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm 100 yards away, in the press box. So that 25 pounds don't register, when I'm up there. So that was a little weird. But yeah, I love it, man. There's really no point in there being jersey numbers based on positions. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. What's the purpose? I feel like everyone who believes that should be a thing is just like because it has been a thing. But like doesn't mean it serves no purpose. It's not like in basketball where the numbers used to have to be you couldn't have anything like over that a ref couldn't go to the scores table and hold it up with one hand like foul on 55 and put 5 and 5 up. You can now you can have whatever number, but in basketball that kind of made a little sense because you call out individual numbers with your hands so much, but now the refs I think are mic'd up or whatever, so it really doesn't matter. So, and then in the NFL, there's no reason why can't a left tackle wear 20? You're not going to know he's left tackle? Look where he lines up. It's where left tackles line up. It's just kind of how it works. I don't think it'll get confusing if we were just having a free-for-all. So I think it should just be guys can wear whatever jersey number they want. But, yeah, I definitely like the new rule.
We got the homie Zach Gabel at Z Gabel. Hope I'm saying that last name right. Jeez Louise, man. Should I buy my Super Bowl tickets right now or wait until next week?
That's funny. I don't
give it a week.
I don't know. Yeah, give it a week. Wait, you know what? What was the first name on that? It was Zach?
Jeff. Or excuse me, Zach. Yes, Zach. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Zach, wait till after the Rams game. There's your barometer right there. Wait until see what happens. Yeah. Because like you said, to open the show, the Rams game is on in the background right now, and from what I can see out of my peripheral, the Rams are good. Score be damned, that's a good, well coached football team that now has a quarterback. So
look out.
Wait until after the Rams game, Zach. Wait until after the Rams game.
This one comes from Jeff Brown at JOME253. Did they utilize Gerald Everett enough? Seems like the Seahawks rarely went to him, but his plays that he did have, they were impactful. What are your thoughts there?
So, okay, I'm going to kind of answer the question, but not really. I do think that there's some sentiment there. I tweeted somebody this too. It might have been Holly who asked the question. But I just think that Seahawks Twitter has kind of decided that Shoddy didn't like tight ends or didn't want to use tight ends. That the tight ends, quote unquote, weren't used last year. Air quotes, weren't used. I just think there's way too much of an expectation placed on what tight ends can do in a passing offense. They can be good, but they're never gonna be 8-9 targets a game type of guy. Anywhere from 2 to 4 per game is pretty normal, even in a good offense, even in a high octane. Like the exceptions to the rule are Darren Waller's, Travis Kelce's, prime Zach Ertz, George Kittle's, even like a prime Antonio Gates or whatever. Like they should probably amend the rule for like Kyle Pitts. They should, he should be in the 7 to 9 targets per game type of range. Tight ends they're not going to be that. So I don't think we should expect that. Gerald he had, minus the play that got negated for penalty, he like had 3 targets or whatever. That's a decent day for like a tight end in an offense that wants to be super balanced and spread the ball out a lot. So, and I think we forget that plays are not who the ball goes to is not always who the play was for. So like, for example, I bet you a lot of people saw him score and was like, yes, using the tight ends more. Look at Shane. And then Gerald was like, man, I was the last read on that play. Right? It's like the progression just happened to take him there. Now, to be fair, the first read was Disley, a tight end. But my point is that, like, I think that they want to get everybody involved equally with the skew towards Tyler and DK, which makes sense. So I think what Everett's doing right now is enough. I think his role will expand, but I think we need to change how we're looking at, like, oh, such and such doesn't use tight ends, or this offense uses the tight ends more, doesn't use them enough. What is enough? Like, I think tight ends just aren't naturally in the pass, like they're not huge pass catchers as is. I feel like everyone plays fantasy should know that. After the first couple big tight ends go off the board, that's usually it. Then you start drafting guys in like round 7, right? But so that's kind of where I'm at with the tight ends. They're going to use them, but I think we need to stop thinking that like Disley and Gerald are each going to have like combined for 10 targets a game. I just don't think that's going to be the case. They're still going to be effective though.
What are your overall impressions of the Seahawks from last year in Atlanta to this year in Indianapolis?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think
this one's from KC Masterman. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's somebody who's been around for a while too.
Yes.
I think that's an Athletic subscriber as well. So shout out to Casey. I think that, okay, how do I want to put this? Like I said earlier, the 2021 Colts are going to be better than what the 2020 Falcons were. So
and maybe the 2021 Falcons as well.
No, probably. Yeah, didn't the Falcons get smoked today?
They didn't even score a touchdown. They got destroyed.
Oh man, why score touchdowns when you got Young Wei Koo, right? That's that's how you're supposed to say his name.
Yeah, we talked about it with the homie that works for the Athletic down in Atlanta. What's her name?
Tori works for the Falcons now, but
yes, Tori. Yep.
Yeah, Young Wei.
Yep. Who would have thought?
Yeah, who knew? Anyway, yeah, the Colts are going to be a good football team. That's probably going to be part of what my Monday night or my Monday morning column talks about. Like, the Seahawks beat what I think is going to be a competitive team. They didn't just smoke some scrub. Like, I do think there was like reasons to be a little concerned. Like in 2019, they barely beat the Bengals that year. Bad Bengals team. Bad. Like, there was reasons to be like, I don't know how good these guys are going to be. Even after that, they beat a Steelers team barely, and that team was playing like Mason Rudolph, I think. I think they really made a team with good players look like they didn't have good players. And you could see it. Darius Leonard made some plays sometimes. DeForest Buckner, good Lord. That sack he had on Russ was just
swam through. Hello, Russ.
Boy, yeah. Oh, God. It was like Russ invited him over for dinner, man.
Welcome to the dinner.
Right. Yeah, right in. Get it, Russ cooking dinner. Anyway, so I think that was impressive. I walked away a lot more impressed, I think, because I was impressed both times, but I was a lot more impressed today just because I know the Colts are going to be good. I know that they're well coached as well, even though I think their coach is a little teeny tiny bit overrated, but I think they are a well coached team, and they have a good defense, and they put up a lot of points against a good defense, and they were able to take away the other team's strength. The strength is getting the ball to the running backs, and while they did that, it wasn't enough to kill them. The running backs did not kill him on the ground. So if they do the same thing next week with Derrick Henry, I think I'll be really, really, really impressed. Then Zach can go buy his Super Bowl tickets, maybe.
This one's from Lucha, or should I say Luca Vandross at Leo D444. Is Geno Atkins still a possibility to sign with the Seahawks? And do you think Eskridge beats out Swain for the third receiver spot by midseason?
And also, Zach, if you're buying, I'll take a Super Bowl ticket too. Like, if you just, you know what I'm saying, you say only your ticket, I'll take one too. I'm sure, Chris, you would as well. We could fit. I'll buy everything else, hotel, flight.
Hang on, the company should be taking care of us, by the way.
Well, I'm saying if the Seahawks aren't in the game, I don't know.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because if he buys it now, he still has the ticket.
That is true.
Right? Whether the Seahawks make it or not. So
That's true.
yeah. Super Bowl tickets on Zach. Okay, the second part of that was whether D will overtake Freddie. I would have said yes to that before D got hurt, because getting hurt your rookie year does slow you down. I mean, D was already behind the 8 ball because he got hurt once, right, with the toe. Now I think he has a concussion. Like seeing him get hit like that, like to have his arms up and just like that's the concussion sign. Yeah, so,
not good.
Yeah, I really hope he's okay. So I think it's going to take him some time to get back in the fold. You just see that with rookies. We saw it with LJ, we saw Rashad Penny, even Jordan Brooks last year got hurt. Just getting hurt sets you back. So not to say it still can happen, but I think if it was going to happen, I would have expected it to happen like after the bye week type of thing. Now it would probably be, I don't know, because Freddie's a good player. Freddie, he had I think his only ball today, Russ just skipped in the dirt. That was like Russ's only bad throw on I was on third down. So I think Freddie's gonna be a solid like third receiver, but I do think their usage of 12 personnel is where their strength is, and I think they're gonna see that more and more through the season. What was the first part of that question?
The first part was, is Geno Atkins still available? As a possibility to be signed.
I think he's available. We're still a free agent, right? Yeah. I think if anything, so remember I said don't trade LJ because you're not really, you're not doing yourself a service with that. I think that if you are going to do that, you got to sign Geno. So if that's the plan, then you still have that depth there. But if not, then I wouldn't do it. So yeah, I think he's definitely still a possibility. But right now, man, the rotation looks good. So it might be like a Snacks situation where he comes in, it's like you can't get on the field because we got dudes playing well. Remember, Snacks only got on the field because I want to say Brian Monet went on IR last year, and that's why. And then when Brian Monet came back, Snacks was up out of there. So it could be a situation like that.
This one's from Ninja at Hawks Ninja.
Hey, what up? He or she is
another one that we get a lot of questions from, whether it just be the DMs or just asking questions in the mentions. What impressed you most about the Seahawks win, and what worries you moving forward the most?
The run defense was definitely most impressive, as I mentioned before. That's a team that's going to run the ball, and they have guys who can run it. Now we're talking about up front too. Like they got probably the best guard in the league. They got good tackles. Well, they have one good tackle. That Davenport dude apparently ain't it, but like that was taking away that particular team's strength. I thought was really good. My worry, though, and we haven't talked about this group because they didn't do much, is the cornerbacks. I just think that what happened in that game, the few opportunities they did get, I didn't like how the outside guys performed. Like I think with DJ, it was just like one ball, but it was like, I want you to make that play. Like he expects himself to make that play. He knows he should have made the play. I think it was like in breaking route. I think it was like Paris Campbell or something like that. Whoever it was, maybe Pittman. Pittman looked good. By the way, for the Colts. So I think that was a concern. And then look at the touchdown that Carson threw to
Pascal.
Yeah, to Pascal, dude. That was like, I watched that route. For some reason, I just knew the ball was going there. So I watched the route. Yeah, I watched the route the whole time in real time. I very rarely I focus on one dude like that. But I did. I was like, dang, this looks like this is going to 14. He created some separation. Yeah. Oh, that's why I was watching him, because I think they had scored or something, and it was a penalty on him or something. Maybe
it was some type. It was holding. That's what it was, and they went right back when he scored.
Yeah, because he was arguing with Quandre or something, and then the next play was like, man, watch this. Yeah, it was Trey. It was against Trey.
Okay. Quandre came over to try to help. That's right. Yeah,
so I think that's kind of concerning. Like you can't be getting routed up by Pascal. That's just not.
Third and goal with that.
Yeah, in the red zone, giving them touchdown. So that, I think next week is going to be their biggest test. And, ooh, man, this could go a few. I might decide if Seattle's a championship defense based almost entirely on next Sunday, based on what they do against the Titans. Because I think that offense is still pretty scary.
This one's from Chris Devers at Sarcasticus _. If I remember correctly, Russ was under center the entire first series and in pistol for the second. Did that have to do with the movement with these centers?
Oh, I said I got Jonnu Smith on. He's not on the Titans. My bad. I misspoke on that. I do have Jonnu Smith, but he's on the page.
He used to be.
Yes, I don't know why. I have Tannehill. Anyway, no one cares about your fantasy team, but Tupac cares if nobody else cares. My bad. You gotta read that one again.
No, you're good.
Russ under center. Yes, I knew I heard the question. I'm here. So I wish I could show you guys my notes. My handwriting is terrible, so I don't want you guys to see that. But I have UC written next to a lot of plays in there because Russ was under center a lot, and that's another Shane thing. Shane wants him there. It makes it easier to run some of the stuff that they want to do, like some of the fly sweep stuff, like play action. It's a little riskier when you do it from under center, because think about it, right? You turn your back to the defense, so for a second there, Russ is blind. That is super dangerous, especially if like the safety starts to rotate post snap or something like that, like the Rams like to do. Like the picture that Russ sees when he snaps it versus the picture after he's done turned around and faked it to Chris Carson and turns back around, it could be entirely different. Not to mention a pass rush. But yeah, he was under center a lot more. He mixed it in, did some gun, pistol. They had a lot of variations of a lot of different stuff. I think one of them, they had like faked a reverse to Freddie and then ran it outside zone, I think it was, with Chris. So they mixed it up a lot. But yes, that's something. I think even Mike Sando might have mentioned that when he was on the podcast with us like in February or something, that would be one of the things that we would notice right away, is that Russ is going to be under center a lot more. Just opens up a lot of opportunities. Shoot, even like a QB sneak. Like he did do that from under center, right? So I think that there's a lot of advantages and disadvantages to like play action from under center, run game under center, giving your running back a running start versus just out of the shotgun. There's pros and cons, but I think that just in general, that's a Shane thing that I think will be a net positive.
Speaking of QB sneaks, Taylor Fowers at Taylor_Fowers, another listener that asked quite a bit of questions. On a scale of 1 to 10, how surprised were you when the Seahawks ran a QB sneak?
Yeah, because they go under center that much, I wasn't surprised because, like I said, I've been tracking it, so I see it. I will say this, though, something about the Seahawks. I don't know who retweeted or quote tweeted when I tweeted that Carson fumbled on his QB sneak. Dude, go look at that tweet. It has like 300 retweets or something like that. It's like, what the hell? Like people, and it's just most people just slamming Carson, with like a few people like taking it way too literal to be like, oh, well, it was a bad snap. It's like, well, I don't care. You fumbled on a QB sneak and nobody hit you. Yeah, that's just whatever. Like Carson is, oh my goodness, they hate him a lot. Just Jalen Hurts killing it when Carson went. Actually, Carson wasn't even that bad, I don't think. His protection was not great. But yeah, I feel bad for that dude. That dude, he was getting dragged in my mentions, and I was kind of only like half joking, but yeah, that was rough. But no, I was not surprised to see the QB sneak, because that's the stuff you can do when you're under center. Do QB sneak.
This one's from Giltzer at Dennis GILL10. Why do the Seahawks let teams hang around in the second half? They keep playing down to their competition, and it almost cost them.
Yeah, I think, I talked about this a little bit earlier too. They just get that defense is just not meant for them. That whole like don't give up nothing deep. It's so weird because Pete's whole philosophy is don't give up nothing deep, like to start the game. So I don't get how like you switch to something else to do it, to prevent deep passes and stuff like that late in the game. I just don't understand. It lets teams get in a rhythm because they can just dink and dunk their way, and now they can go no huddle. I don't like it. I don't know if it's playing down to their competition, because they've done it against good teams and bad teams. That's just kind of how it works. It's I think that's a Pete thing. He should stop that. Since they're in the mode of listening to us, listen to me on that one, Pete.
This one's from James at Hopeful Hughes. Is the offensive line actually good, or is it too soon to tell? Also, how underrated is Carlos Dunlap?
I don't think Carlos underrated, man. Has he made like a Pro Bowl? He's a good dude. Isn't he like 13 sacks away from 100 or something like that for his career? Dude can ball. So I don't think he's underrated. The O-line, I think the O-line will be fine. I think it'll be the best O-line Russ has had. I mean, there were some plays in there where you can just see, these guys, like Dwayne, talked about Dwayne. He's mentioned, you didn't hear Brandon Shell's name, so it probably means he was all right. I thought Gabe Jackson had some really, really good plays in that game. I'd have to go back and watch to see what the center position looked like outside of that one play from Posick that wasn't good. But just in general, I think the O-line is going to be good. Now, can they stay this good even if they sustain some injuries or something? Like, that's the question. But from a talent standpoint, no, I think this has a potential to be like a top 12 O-line, which is like way higher than any other O-line Russ has had in a long time, or ever. So yeah, I'm kind of bullish on the O-line for now.
This one's from Ralph at Ralph742698. Is this the Rasheem Green we should expect moving forward?
Ralph, you have way too many numbers in your Twitter handle. That's like Russian bot territory, Ralph. You need to do better. I think so. Remember I mentioned what tackle that Rasheem had the sack against. I think that's important too. Like even like Rasheem's in year 4. He was in the preseason playing against guys who ain't in year 4 and balling out against guys who ain't in year 4. Not to say that he's not good, but you have to contextualize production. Sometimes he's playing against backups and stuff like that, balling out. It's like, well, yeah, you're not a backup, right? So I don't think we can expect that every week. I do think Rasheem will be a decent player. I don't know what that means for keeping him going forward though, because he's in a contract year. So we'll see. This is like his audition to see if he should stick around.
This one's from at Carmen Rana. Why do you believe the Seahawks changed their defense from a 4-3 to a 3-4?
This would take me a little bit too long to explain, but one of the advantages is run defense. You got every gap covered when you go there. There's some coverage reasons as well, but I just think it kind of fits how their team is currently constructed because Poona Ford's so versatile and doesn't need to be over the nose. And they've just found really good nose guys in Brian and Al, and Brian, who's even athletic enough to be a 3 technique, lining up between the guard and the tackle. I think it's just it fits their personnel a little bit better. I mean, Pete Carroll's kind of always been running. He's always like 3-4 personnel. He just always ran a 4-3. But I think right now, the way they have it set up and the way teams have been liking to beat them on the edge and things like that, like with fly sweeps and stuff like that, getting outside, making the linebackers have to do a lot of work horizontally. I think that's had to do with it. But yeah, there's a few reasons. It's a personnel thing. The way they're constructed now, this is the better way to go about it. I think I agree with this one on Pete's. Pete don't have to listen to me this time, but I still need my sweatsuit.
Got a long time listener here asking a question at Chris Dunn at Chris_Dunn3. It seemed like there were a lot less runs that went either nowhere or backwards. There were a lot of runs that went nowhere or backwards. What grade would you give the offensive line as a whole? And then what grade would you give the defensive line as a whole?
The D-line was probably like a B. I thought they were pretty solid. I don't think I'd have to go back and watch some of the run blocking on offense. Or wait, is that a question about which offense is he asking about that had the runs that went backwards? Colts or
I think he's definitely talking about the Seahawks. They didn't have too many. I think for the most part, Chris was able to just break the tackle and keep going forward, which he's always done for the most part. He always fights for yardage, but
I guess I'll answer both versions of it. I think the D-line did a really good job against the run, as I mentioned. But I thought the Seahawks O-line, so if that's about the Seahawks O-line, I think that's a little off. I thought they were really, even Rashad's 2 runs, were just like little 4-yard joints, but they were fine. DJ Dallas, I think his only 1 run was like a decent run, and then Chris did his thing. So I think the O-line, the run game did its part. Seattle did its part at every level, I thought. The Colts, not so much.
Our last question comes from Tough Guy Football. I love that name. Is there a real veteran center available that the Seahawks can go you only live once on, win now mode, and trade for? Not sure how the Seahawks can escape this division with pass rushers and the current situation at center.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a lot of veteran centers just sitting around that can help this team. But I think we got to give Kyle Fuller a little bit more of a shot. I do. I think that Pete Carroll knows that they didn't get to battle it out in training camp and now wants to try to use the regular season games as like, oh, let's still always compete. No, you should not. Nope. Competing's over, buddy.
Game
Don't
time.
do that. Yeah, you don't do that. Nope. But I think we got to give Kyle Fuller some more games. I want to see him. I want to see him all the way up to the Rams game because he's going to play some good fronts here. I mean, even next week, the next few weeks, he's playing some good fronts, or they at least have some guys on the team that are talented. So actually, I don't know about the Titans front, but they got the Vikings, good front, Niners, good front. So we'll wait and see. I don't think I'll give Kyle Fuller the benefit of the doubt on that.
Those are the Twitter questions.
That was the last one.
Yeah, we appreciate everyone out there asking them. We love it, man. Thank you so much. But yeah, what a fun episode. The season is underway, Mike. We are no longer talking about preseason, the off season. We're in go mode, man. Late nights for the both of us, especially for you on the East Coast. It's pushing midnight now.
Yeah, I'm tired as hell. But I'm gonna power through. We'll be fine. But yeah, appreciate you guys. Shout out to the homies at the Up and Up. That's what the shirt I'm repping is. If you guys see that, there you go. Make sure you go rock with them. Shout out to the homie Die too, Pro Black Hat. Feel me? Doing all the marketing out here. Anyway,
wow.
But yeah. No, I'm just black owned clothing lines.
There it is.
Yeah, great thing, man. Appreciate you guys. We're coming with another episode this week. We're back at it 2 a week every week. You know, that's the new motto. 2 a week every week. Well, the bye week I'm gonna be chilling.
Both are gonna be chilling. We might have something in store. Maybe we'll have an interview or something.
Yeah, maybe pre-planned because I'm taking the week off. I can already tell it's gonna be a grind. But yeah, appreciate you guys. Make sure you subscribe and do all that good stuff. If you're listening on the audio version, remember we are available on YouTube. Come rock with us on YouTube,
especially if you want to just see us.
Even if you don't, we just need the YouTube views up. So
we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. We're almost there. We're halfway there.
Yeah, we're trying to get those up. So even if you're just listening, just put it on YouTube and put your phone down. And, don't really
works.
care.
Yeah.
So it's still just the audio.
Yeah, what Mike just said. If you're listening right now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, however you're listening, iHeartRadio, just go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel because we have some cool ideas that we want to do, but we have to have 1,000 subscribers. So just help us out. How about that?
There we go.
Before you go, though. Go ahead, Mike.
No, go ahead.
Hot take before we get out of here.
Oh. Ooh.
Oh, yeah, it's a new season. We back at it, baby.
Dang, that is tough. I think okay, this is I'll do this. I'll do this. This will be this is going to be the year that Russ gets multiple MVP votes. This will be it.
Well, then they go pretty far if that's the case. That means that's a good sign.
Well, I don't know how far they'll go. I think didn't Lamar win it and they lost their first game in the postseason? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think they did to the Titans or something. But that's my hot take. Here we go.
That's pretty hot. We'll see how it goes. We'll catch you guys later this week with another Seahawks Man-to-Man episode. Everyone have a good night, good day, good afternoon, whatever it may be. We'll holler at you later. Peace.